Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael,
And I'm Molly.
and we're here today to talk about a very busy last few days of Big Brother 28. Wow, what a week this has been so far. So, plenty to get into, and we are going to get into it all with a good friend of ours who was joining us today. It's our friend Lewis Thorp, aka Lulu. Lulu, how
Hello.
are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm excited. I think that the Big Brother gods chose the right week for me to make an appearance on this podcast because there is so much to sink our teeth into. No, I'm very excited to be here. This is looking to be a so far it's looking to be a classic Big Brother season. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, it is. We are have been starved for like real drama, I feel like the last few years on Big Brother. We've had some like kind of staged fights, rehearsed fights, like on for strategy purposes most of the time. And this feels like we've got a cast that is really going to be bitter towards each other by the end of the season. And I think we're seeing the origins of that as we speak. So I'm very excited to get into it all. But Lulu, tell us a little bit about your like reality TV origin story. What
Ooh.
was there like a specific show that really got you into this world, or what got you started?
Um, so um, so I'm British. So let's start there.
If you
I'm
couldn't
British.
tell by the
If you
accent.
couldn't tell, I'm British. So a lot of my reality TV origin is UK reality TV as opposed to American spin-offs. Specifically, Big Brother UK. That was my
Mm,
start in reality TV, and it's a very different show, Big Brother UK, in comparison to the US. So when I heard of
yes.
Big Brother US being a completely different format, I wanted to dip my toes into Big Brother US, and I just prefer the US format. I still have a soft spot for Big Brother UK. We still have really iconic moments. A lot of everyone talks about David's dead. I don't
That's
know
my
if
favorite Big
that's
Brother moment of all
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was with my mum watching that moment
Oh
live.
my gosh.
Our jaws were on the floor for like 20, 30 minutes.
Well, not only
We-
that moment, but then like the Gemma Collins read by New York and the DR with the
oh,
the shoes. That is also very iconic.
yes, the old maiden type
Old
shoes.
maiden shoes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. But Big Brother US, it took me a while to find a place where I could watch it proper. It was difficult. So for a large amount of time, I was just watching clips on YouTube, like of specific moments throughout the show's history. I think the earliest that I remember watching is Chilltown, like that era of Big Brother
It's pretty
US.
early, yeah.
Pretty early, yeah. Um, but once I joined communities like Rob has a podcast, which we're all a part of, that's how I managed to finally start watching it like someone should watch it episodically. Um, but no, yeah,
It's a great way. Like when you have a community of people, like it really pushes you to watch shows live as they're airing, and like because you want to be able to then like talk about it with everybody. And so I think it really is like a good way to almost like check yourself to make sure that you're making as much of an effort as possible to watch the shows as they're going on, because it adds like so much more to it when you have people to talk about it with.
exactly, yeah. No, I think the first season that I watched proper start to finish was season 19. That was the Paul coming back season.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul
Josh
coming back,
Martinez, yeah.
Josh Martinez. Um, so I just remember apples being decorated across the
It was
living room
the
wall.
Temptation
The
season.
Temptation
Yeah.
season, yes, yes, yes. Um, but I've stuck with it since. There's been a few rough seasons since then, but no, I'm very excited that this could probably be made the makings of Um, see, this is the makings of a season that I would slot in around the Chilltown era if I
Wow.
could rejig the timeline of events. Like, I don't know. It just feels like it fits in that era of Big Brother.
There's been a lot of comparisons to like BB6, like with a
Yeah,
split house. I feel like anytime there's a split house, there's kind of those comparisons, and it does feel like this is a going to be a split house season. We're already basically there. I think people just are kind of still in the like at the point of trying to hide it a little bit and like vote with the house or whatever. But I feel like in a week or two time, like we're gonna get to the point where everybody's so out in the open that there's no need to to pretend like it's not anymore, and that's when it's really gonna get exciting.
absolutely.
Molly, what are your thoughts on the week as a whole and where we are right now with the season?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I feel like with seeing our reality TV icons there, I think that's really helped with like just bringing forth a lot of the strategy talks and the drama that we've already seen happen. I love Angela's just moments of maybe she think she should draw it back a little bit, but then doesn't want to because obviously we love the theatrics.
It's Angela.
So
Yeah,
it's Angela, of course. So it's been fun to see her back as well.
it's been very fun. Let's get into so just some major. I mean, there's so much to get into with this week with the Devens HOH, but there are a few things to cover from before that I want to get into that we have not had a chance to yet. So last week, just to refresher, because it feels like 5,000 weeks ago, our first nominees were Mallory, Taylor, and Yash. Mallory got very emotional about her nomination, which made Melody in particular, feel a need to kind of distance herself from Mallory. Lulu, what did you think of how Melody handled that? And like just wanting to basically say like have no association with Mallory once she was on the block. Just it was like she had the plague and was washing her hands of her.
I think it's definitely mature to consider your position with someone who is that emotional and um, trying to like kind of detach yourself. It felt like she was kind of trying too hard to detach herself at points. Um, to the point where it felt like she was. If I get if I was in Dee's position, I would feel like, oh, she's trying too hard to save face.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I am with Melody considering that and like trying to distance herself from that, but at a more gradual pace than than
Yeah.
she did that week. Yeah.
Yeah, Molly, it is interesting because it's like there is a fine line that I think you have to walk where you don't want to be like their best friend because then it is like if they get off the block, then you could very easily be seen as the easy replacement. But you also don't want to be seen as like a disloyal player of somebody who, as soon as your ally is on the block or it's not beneficial to you anymore, you're just so willing to move over to other people.
Yeah, it did seem a little early, especially because the Power of Veto hadn't even been played yet. So there were two chances that she could have come down. So for Melody to already feel that she couldn't associate herself with Mallory was a little bit premature there, but that's how she was feeling in the moment. So it's Big Brother.
I think Melody's that I keep saying Melanie. Love Island, we're still there,
We can say
but
Mel. It's
yeah,
easier.
yeah.
Mal.
But it feels like she's the type of player who's just like very game body, like it's just someone who is not very like empathetic in that way. I'm sure in real life she is. I'm not saying
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like I think in the game, like she's just like, okay, toughen up. Like this is a game. And I kind of
hmm
like that about her. It's very like Vanessa Morgan coded. Like I could see her kind of
yeah.
being in that vein if she makes it far enough.
Yeah.
But then Mallory, because the BB gods are sometimes very funny. Mallory wins Power of Veto, and Dee initially considers Melody as a replacement nominee for the reasons that we just talked about. But eventually, she lands on Ashley, since Ashley was kind of in that last group, if you will, with Barrett that didn't get the BB Tonium in time, and so did not get to compete for HOH. So in order to kind of go with her original plan that she was at least telling people the reasoning was for her nominations. They were the last group that didn't have anyone chosen, and so she was an easy person since, of course, she's aligned with Barrett. What did you think of the way that Ashley handled herself, Lulu, in her conversation with Dee when Dee was kind of telling her, like, yeah, you're probably going to be the nominee? Do you think that there's anything she could have done more to prevent that?
I don't know. Um, I mean, that early on, I'm not sure if there's much you can say other than "I will ride with you if you keep me
Yeah.
off" or etc. There's not much game to go off of, and Dee's proven that her HOH was going to be very, you're just picking from one of each group. Uh, who unless Ashley throws a name out, maybe, but I don't know if
Mhm.
that's wise.
Yeah, like she kind of did, like saying like why couldn't it be Barrett? But obviously that was never
Oh
going to
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
happen.
mean, yeah, but that
No
was
Yeah,
one,
never going
not
to be.
Barrett. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not
yeah,
going to be Barrett.
Yeah.
right. I mean, Molly, like it felt like to me she basically did what she could there, and like
Yeah.
she didn't just kind of lay down and be like, okay, thank you, whatever you say. But yeah, I really don't know that there's much more she could have done.
I agree. I think this early on, especially, it's like there's really not much to go off of proving herself as a loyal player or whatever. Like she wasn't part of their conversations to begin with, so it just felt like a little bit too late as well if she tried to pretend like she was really on their side.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, then, we to stray from strategy talk, I guess, for a moment. We get the Jason and Angela segment where they're having a heart-to-heart conversation, and Jason's crying, telling her that he misses his mom who recently passed away, and that he views Angela like a mom in the house. And as soon as she walks away, he stares at the camera and kind of rolls his eyes. It's clear that he was really trying to emotionally manipulate her, if you will. And then he goes and brags to Drew and Melody about it. And he also reveals to them that he wants to form an alliance with them, the court jesters, and he wants to target Devens. And Drew just kind of basically runs back to Dee and Devens and Angela and spills all of this. And it makes Angela very emotional, very upset. Molly, what did you think of this whole segment? And yeah, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, no, it was wild to see because in first glance you would think that this was a real like heart to heart moment and he wasn't trying to play Angela in that way, but then to immediately just roll his eyes and then also go and talk to Drew and Melody, like that just really made it seem even more just messy in that way of it really not really meaning anything because Angela really did see this as a real conversation. So she didn't want to obviously be feeling like she was just totally played an emotional way, not in a game way. Like that's a very emotional thing to do. So I felt for Angela here. Obviously, there's a lot that's happened this week too, but I think in this moment, like it was just interesting just to see how Jason already was like playing like this. Like I wasn't expecting that from him.
Mhm. Yeah, Lulu, do you think that what Jason did here is fair game in this game, or is this taking it a step too far?
Oh, that's a question. That's a good question. So I'm trying to contextualize this because I am in the crowd that I'm part of the crowd that I didn't mind. Not to mention another show, but I didn't mind the fair play when that
Yeah.
happened on Survivor. I really didn't mind it. Um, I think it's the way that he went bragging about it in that next conversation. That's
Mm.
what felt too far to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also like a slight difference between what Fair Play did and what Jason did here, in that it feels like with Jason, this was a very like personal one-on-one situation where he was trying to
Yeah.
manipulate Angela specifically and using everything
Yeah.
that he knows about her specifically to manipulate this. Whereas I think with Fair Play, it was like it wasn't anything personal to any one person. It was like here is this lie that I'm doing that all of you, I want to believe this, and not any one person in particular trying to get an emotional connection to through it. So I think this just felt very personal, and that was what
I
I kind of felt dirty to me about it.
I wouldn't have minded it as a move to draw Angela closer and keep that as a thing of like trying to build on that connection with
Yeah,
Angela. But I don't know. It's yeah.
because I think
On,
yeah, I just
go
think
ahead.
there's a way that he could have done this so differently that wouldn't have felt weird. Like I think if you just kind of, because what he's saying, I'm sure is true. Like
Mhm.
he's not lying to Angela. It's not like his mother is sitting there watching the show at home.
I
Like
had to look it up. I
I
did
did
have to
too.
look.
Yeah, no, I did too. But it is true, and that at
Mhm.
least, like, there is like some solace that at least, like, he was. It would have been so much worse, I think, if he was actually
Yeah.
like lying about that. But there is a world where I think he does this, and he just, maybe in the DR he's like, okay, like I'm playing it up a little bit, or like, like I think there's something to that. Like he knows that that's something they can connect over, and
Yeah.
like that doesn't feel dirty, but I think it's just the as soon as she walks away, just completely like rolling his eyes, then going to brag about it. It's like it feels so unnecessary where he's not getting anything more out of this by doing that than he would be by just being honest with her and just, pouring his heart out to Angela in a very
Sure.
real and authentic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this does come back around at the end of the episode, at the end of the last episode that we're going to be covering here. So we will get back to that a little bit. But
Can I just not
yeah, go
to?
for it.
I just want to mention I appreciate how much Drew is showing that Drew is a trustworthy player to that alliance.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
every time he gets anything, straight to the group.
And
Straight.
if only they appreciated it.
I know. Yeah.
Well, we will get more into that with feed
Mhm.
spoilers in a bit, for sure. But yeah, no, I do. I agree with you that Drew is a very good ally because everyone trusts him, and because of that, he's able to get all this information that nobody else in the alliance is able to get. And it, if they lose him, if they fully lose him in the next few days here, they're going to be sorry about that, I think, in a week's time or so when they are no longer aware of what's happening on the other side of the house. But we'll see what happens. But Dee's original plan this week is to vote out Yosh if he doesn't win the blockbuster, and vote out Taylor over Ashley if he does. But and because that is because she views Ashley as a number who the crossover / red corners can pick up because she really doesn't have an alliance at this point. She's just kind of a free agent. But Ashley is told that she has the numbers to stay, and she then goes to Melody and just lists out all the names of everybody who's going to be voting for her to stay as a way of just kind of being like, hey, if you don't vote for me, like you're going to be on the wrong side of the numbers. And then Melody, of course, goes and informs Barrett and Drew of this, who she thinks she can trust. And that then makes them feel like they can't trust Ashley. And then they decide to just completely flip the situation here and vote out Ashley if she does not win Blockbuster. Lulu, what do you think of the way that Ashley just kind of went to Melody there? Should she have just kept quiet? Or was there something else she could have maybe said instead of that?
Um, she should have. I'm in two minds. I'm like, as a viewer, I'm like, you should have just sat pretty on the information that you're being protected. On the other hand, if I was Ashley and I know I'm on the block, all the paranoia will be going around me, and I'll want to do anything or something to feel like I have the control of my
Yeah.
own. I don't know. So I understand Ashley wanting to do something rather than just wanting to sit back and let fate protect me or fate this whatever. It's it's one thing being told you're safe, but it's another thing trying to have that control of your own destiny. So I get it, but no, she should have just sat back.
Yeah, I mean, Molly, I get it too. I totally agree with you that like if I'm in Ashley's position and being told just like stay quiet, just like, you'll be fine. I don't know that I believe that. And I think I want to like feel like I'm doing something to have my fate in my own hands versus just like letting everybody else do my campaigning for me almost. I feel like we see that
Mhm.
all the time with people who are told that they're going to be okay and then we're like, "No, you need to do your own campaigning because then like, people are going to change their minds. You're going to lose your bonds with people." And so I totally get that feeling, but yeah, I think just like outing an entire group, Molly, is probably never a really great idea.
No, I agree. I feel like that's when it just went overboard for her. If she hadn't gone through and listed everyone out on who was keeping her safe, then maybe it would have been a little bit better for her. But I still think it's just wrong move for that for sure.
Yeah, that's I think the mark of somebody who just doesn't really know the game very well, and it's just like she probably didn't even think twice really about doing that. Like it was just like, oh yeah, here's the people who I was just told. Like I'm giving you information so you can trust me, and not thinking a few more steps ahead. But I like Ashley though. I really was at this point. I was like, oh, she'll be so entertaining if she stays. I feel like I got Cat Down vibes from her, where I was like, she's just gonna add like a fun vibe during the season. That I of all the three nominees, I think I was most hoping she would stay, but she does not win Blockbuster. Yash wins, leaving Ashley and Taylor on the block, and Ashley is voted out in a record 14-0 vote. First person to ever get 14 votes in 1 week.
Yeah.
Molly, what were your any surprises there? I guess were you surprised that Yash won? Were you surprised by the unanimous vote? Any of that?
No, I was expecting. I feel like, or honestly, it was not like a physical challenge, but I feel like if it was, then Yash is going to win that. But just seeing the memory of just, or seeing how many people, how many times, who was there the most, like anyone could have done that and gotten it. But I think Yash just was paying more close attention on that. So he won. But overall, it seemed like a pretty fair
Mm-hmm.
challenge there. But as a whole, I'm not surprised with the way that Ashley got voted out because everyone felt that way that she just wasn't really part of a group and really wasn't also with her kind of spreading out every information about who was keeping her and all that. People just didn't sit right with that. So as a whole, wasn't so surprised, but I am sad to see her go. Also, I did enjoy watching her, and I just saw her. She's posting TikToks already, so I'm excited to see how she reacts now to this season. So that's been fun to see. And people were saying to her that she should go on Love Island, which I think that would be a good fit for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of her first tweets was, "I am so excited that I'm the only Big Brother 28 house guest who can get Taco Bell." And then people were commenting, "No, you do not want Taco Bell, not right now."
Oh, I don't. Is there
I
something
don't know,
happening?
Lulu, if that's reached the UK,
What's going
but there's
on?
there's this what is the name of it, Molly? It's
I don't know, but it's some like
miso.
parasite.
It's a parasite that is in lettuce. They're thinking right now, but it's not exactly clear where it's coming from. And Taco Bell is one of the places that a lot of cases have been found of this
I
parasite.
would like to think our Taco Bell is safe from that. Um, I'll
I
do my research before I next go to Taco
Yeah,
Bell.
maybe look, but
Yeah,
I only know of it being in the U.S. So it's like a specific company right now, Taylor Farms, that they're thinking the lettuce
got you.
is coming from. But better safe than sorry. But Lulu, any final words on Ashley's game before we move on to the next week here?
Um, for one, she was my top draft. I'm in an 8 player draft, and she was my top draft pick.
Oh no.
So I'm no, I loved her in the preseason. Everyone was telling me like they thought it was very put on, like this TikTok persona, whatever. I don't think so. I think that's. I mean, it's been proven. That's just how she. Okay, like granted, sure, cameras on her or anything, but I just think that's how she is. I think she's
Yeah.
just, and I don't care. She's fun. She's bubbly. She's fun. Maybe wrong fit for this show. Maybe a better fit for Love Island. I'm not big on Love Island, but no, I loved her. I was hoping we get to see more of her. Um, yeah, she's my kind of girl. She's very full on, and I love that in a person. So
Hmm.
I hope we do get to see her on something.
I actually wonder if she would have been a better fit for last season because I feel like last season's cast was much more just like bonkers, didn't really like it wasn't game heavy, but it was just like more I guess personality heavy season.
Right.
And this season feels a little bit more strategy heavy and maybe she just didn't quite fit in as well with this cast as she would have in a different season.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I had to look up last season. No, yeah, absolutely, especially with, um,
Ashley and
oh
Rachel
gosh,
would have loved each other, right?
Ashley and Rachel would have absolutely loved each other. I would have loved to have seen Ashley and Ava.
Oh.
That would
Yeah,
be
that would
funny.
have been interesting. Ava Pearl and
Ava
Ashley.
Pearl.
What a what a what a person. Uh, all right, let's move on then to this current week because there's a lot to get to. So Devens ends up winning the next HOH, and he was actually trying to throw it, which I didn't know until last night's episode, where we found out that he was trying to throw it to Haley, and Haley just unintentionally threw it even harder. But this is what's interesting because this was not shown on the episode, but this was a big reason why Melody ends up on the block here. Is that in round three, where if you remember in round one, I guess this was a weird round. I don't know why this was considered a round, but like when they were first pairing up, and it ends up they find out that they're competing against the person that they're paired up with. But in round three, they also pair up again, and Melody initially thought that it was going to be the same thing where they're competing against the person they're paired up with. So she pairs up with Devens. Somehow there was like an audio leak or something to that effect, and she finds out that they're actually competing with the person that they're paired up with. And so she then goes and runs over to Drew. And they end up reshooting this apparently, and to make it seem like she always paired up with Drew. But Devens kind of got offended by that, thinking like, "Why now are you like we wanted to pair up with me when you thought you could take me out, but now you want to go run the other way when it turns out we're actually competing with the person." So that ends up being a huge reason why Melody ends up on the block here, but they can't show any of that because I guess it was due to like an audio production error that they didn't want to show on the episode. So just an
Wow.
interesting note to talk about there, that some context we were missing. But Molly, what did you think of Devens winning HOH?
Yeah, no, it's interesting to hear the technical difficulties. I didn't hear about that until now, but
Thank
I
you, Taryn
think.
Armstrong.
Oh, thank you, Taryn. So for Devon's winning HOH, but not purposely winning it, it's just kind of funny to me. Like it's like okay, he was really not trying to win this week, and then he still ends up winning. So I was happy to see that happen. And obviously rooting for him as HOH. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, Lulu, do you think it was a good move for him to win this HOH?
Um, no, but I will say I'm relieved to know he didn't want it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very relieved to know that he didn't want it. I think sometimes feeders forget that some of these competitions that we don't get to see until the episode are not throwable, or at
Hmm.
least if he could have thrown, but it would have been a way too obvious throw.
Right.
So he could have just completely launched the disc off the other side of the table, but no, it would have been yeah, it would have been obvious. No, I don't think. I don't know. I thought it would have been too early for him to. I wanted Devons to be the kind of person who kind of plays the social game early on, then gets the win equity at the end of the
Hmm.
season. Um, in hindsight, I'm glad he's HOH after what we've been provided this week. But no, prior to this week, I'm happy for Devon's winning. I just didn't think it was I didn't think it was right for his game to win this early.
I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that For a couple days during his HOH, I actually thought, okay, we could get both an entertaining week and a good week of gameplay for him. Like, this could actually end up being great for his game if he is successful in being able to backdoor Rome and get the three on the block that he wants on the block. And Rome really gave it to him on a silver platter. So I thought like this could
Mhm.
actually be great. And the last couple days, I'm like, maybe this is not such a good idea, and maybe this is Rick Devens doing Rick Devens things, as Rizzo would say, and not ending up with the best week for him and his game. But it's been a very fun one, so I was excited. I feel like anytime that Rick Devens or Angela is going to win power, you're going to get something entertaining, whether it's actually good for them or not. So, Team Fun
Right.
TV.
I also love that we got a Devon's dance
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
moment. We had a
Mhm.
Devon's dance moment a la Survivor 50. So I loved that. Yeah.
Yes, we always love a good storage room dance, a good HOH room dance. Always a fun time after a clutch win. But then we get Devens and Rome in the HOH room having a conversation. And Rome asks Devens to protect him, Lyric, Lala, Jason, and Drew. But then he says, well, if I had to boil it down a bit further, his main priorities would be himself, Lyric, and Jason. This, of course, is a great thing for Devens to hear because now he is able to use that to get Lala and Drew, really, particularly, are the ones who were mentioned, but then not ending up on the final list. So now he can use this as a way to let them know, hey, you're not priorities for Rome. Lulu, what did you think of the way that Rome was just kind of throwing out a bunch of names here and being seemingly very honest with Devens?
Um, no, I loved it. Absolutely, like break down your like I loved it because it was fun to see Devons's like brain just and like figuring out what the configuration of that alliance is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not smart at all. Not a smart move at all as a game player. Uh, but it's interesting that initially Devons was gonna let Rome kind of have his way.
Yeah.
I, yeah, it's so interesting because I think that I always think of Devens as a player who's just like not afraid of anyone, like who's just going to make the big move, the bold move, and not really think about the consequences and then just deal with them as it comes. But Molly, it does kind of really does feel like he was kind of trying to also not ruin his relationship with Rome here.
Yeah. No, it did seem like that. I mean, as a whole, like it's good to hear people who they work with, and then you can target the people if you don't like that side of the house, like who's the options to put up, and showing the people who weren't in the safe group, like that they aren't really truly with Rome as much as they think they are. So I thought it was interesting that it went about this way.
Mm-hmm. But then in comes Angela Murray, who to save the day, and she has a plan. She wants to backdoor Rome, and so she goes and pulls Devens. This was so funny how she just like pulls Devens into the bathroom of the HOH room, as if like the HOH room isn't private enough itself. You have to go way in the back,
I
The
know. I
bunker.
noticed.
the bunker. Yes.
Yeah, Angela, or then Devens was like, "Oh, can you hear me out there?" Like he
Yeah.
was
No.
concerned.
Unless there's eight of you in there yelling and screaming, there's probably not going to be able to hear a one-on-one conversation. But just to be safe, I guess, hey, she pulls him in the bathroom and says that Rome has to go now because otherwise he is going to control that other side of the house, and you're going to regret not taking him out when you have the chance. And she's I think this was so smart of Angela Molly because she knows Rick Devens. She's a Survivor fan. And she knows how to appeal to him is to just tell him this is going to be so fun. and you are going to have the best time taking out the biggest player and just go for it. And this appealed to him, and this
Yeah.
made him change his mind and be like, hey, sorry, Rome, you already gave me all this information. I was going to help you out with it, but now I'm going to use it all against you.
Yeah, no, I really love this moment and it was perfect. I feel like just Angela scheming already. I just love seeing that. So it was awesome.
Yeah. Lulu, did you agree with Angela that this was the move that Devens should be making this week?
Yeah. I mean, I never like a safe HOH.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Angela was it the right move. Okay, am I? I'm always juggling between viewer me and gameplayer me. Was it the right move? Maybe, yeah. Because you can't appease to everyone. So
Hmm.
if you're not gonna be able to appease to everyone, you might as well make the move that is um, the, the move that you can use in your back catalog if you get to the end. No, I also loved how it felt like there was a switch in Devens as soon as Angela came to him. Like he was like,
Hmm.
"Right, yes, I'm all in now," and like I was like, "Oh damn, this is like that." We just went from 0 to 100, like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yes, it felt like he was trying to initially um, trying to like it felt like he was trying to play both sides, but I don't think he's in a position where he can play both sides
Right.
initially. So I think he has to make the big move,
Yeah.
and glad he did.
I agree because I feel like this right now, and we'll see it in a second, but like the sides of the house are really forming right now. And I think like you want to stop the other side of the house as much as possible from forming this other opposing side. So you can get your side and you're all on the same page. And then you kind of make the other side as weak as possible, as give them as little chance of winning HOH as possible, and also taking out somebody who really could be like a leader, somebody who really like is going to get the troops together and get them all on the same page. And I think taking out Rome here is a really good move to cut that at the knees and stop that from happening. Like it probably will still happen, but like I think that you're getting rid of somebody who really has the ability to like get everybody on the same page, and that's always a good move to stop as early as week 2 if you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
also, I think that Angela and Rick together are just such a fun duo. Like Angela is like that devil on his shoulder that's just like telling him like, no, do it, do it. And in this case, I think she's right. In the future, maybe she won't be, but I think it's going to be fun regardless. And I hope that the two of them can stay together and kind of on the same page as long as possible, because I just love them hyping each other up. And I think that they're the same type of player, and it's just so much fun to watch them be together.
Yeah.
I agree.
Then we get the big moment of the week here, or one of the big moments. There's been multiple, but this was definitely the start of it here. So in the middle of the night, Devens calls everyone up to the HOH room from both the crossovers and the Red Corner alliances in an effort to kind of join forces, get everybody on the same page. And now with this new plan that Angel has given him, like he wants to just get everybody up there, get them all together, and basically just form this big super alliance. And they're waking people up. And Rome also gets woken up because they're trying to wake up other people from the Have Not room. And Rome, they're not being very subtle about it. So Rome also wakes up, and he wakes up Lyric and Jason because he gets a little suspicious of like, why are there a lot of people in the middle of the night walking up to the HOH room? And what are they doing? We need to be aware of what's happening here. So they are all just kind of waiting in the kitchen as people are going up there. And then eventually, as they're up there, once they get everybody in there, Rome just rings the HOH doorbell. He didn't do it that many times, I think, as maybe it made it seem on the episode, but it was kind of the same, whether, however many times. He was up there for a long time waiting for them.
Hmm.
And it was really, really funny. Lulu, you have watched BB21, correct?
Yes, most seasons kind of blend, but you
Okay.
have to remind me of.
Do you remember there was a moment where the Grateful Alliance was all in the HOH room together in a very similar situation where Nicole Anthony was trying to get up there? And it was towards the beginning of the season, and they were all in there basically like hyping each other up that like Nicole had lied to all of them, and they were like all like exposing her, and then she tries to go up to the HOH room and be like, "What's going on in here?" And they wouldn't let her in. And it was kind of a similar thing here,
Mhm.
but it's so interesting to me because on that season, everybody, all the viewers felt so bad for Nicole. It was like, this is bullying. This shouldn't happen in this
Uh-huh.
show, blah, blah, blah. Here, it feels like the audience is very much on the side of the people in the HOH room and thought it was hilarious that this was happening to Rome. So, like, what was your take on it?
I enjoyed. No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did
I
too.
enjoyed it. What I enjoyed more was the fact that they kind of denied that they heard the doorbell after they left.
Yeah.
Like you can just, like you can just, the doorbell is that quiet that you can't even know that. Like you're all there, you definitely heard the doorbell. Um, it's at 4:30 in the morning. That's anyway. Um,
Almost what it is right now for you as we're recording
right.
this.
Oh, I don't know. It's no, I loved it. It's the fact that everyone was just lined up, just staring at the TV, waiting for him to kind of disappear, but he
Yeah.
just refused.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe a better idea would have been to let him in, but kind of pretend like you've just had a casual conversation, even though he probably knew that you weren't having a casual conversation.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I found it hilarious.
I did too, but like Molly, do you think it maybe would have been better? Like, and this was more fun, so I'm glad that this happened. I wonder if it would have been better for like one, maybe half of them to be up there, and then you just let the other, like the next morning, you inform the other half, like, hey, we met, like blah blah blah, and just fill them in, and purposely like tell them like we can't get all together in one room, like it's too obvious. Like I think maybe that would have been better, but also like it is important one time for if you're gonna make this big alliance, it is important for I think everyone to be on the same room together one time, not ever again probably. But like just the
Yeah.
first time when you're forming it, that way everybody feels like at least they're a part of the formation of it and like not secondary. I don't know. What do you think, Molly?
Yeah, well, I think the timing of it definitely made it so that everyone kind of knew what was happening. That like if they weren't part of it, then they were not part of whatever this plan is. So I don't like. I mean, it was fun to see like everyone's reactions and them waking up also to the rest of the people going up there at 4:30 in the morning. But I think as a whole, like strategy wise, probably wasn't the smartest move because now everyone knows who's working together. It was everyone who was in that room, and like I mean, they probably would have gather that without that meeting happening. But I think it just ignites it even faster, and that it's obvious that that's who Devens is working with. And if Rome is standing out there and not getting in, then obviously they're not working with Rome. So I thought that was funny. But overall, like I know we're hypocritical thinking that oh it's so funny thinking that Rome got left out, and if it was someone that we liked then we would have been like oh no
Right.
like that's so bad.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see that because I am not on Rome's side of the house.
Yeah. Also, I will say, like, to the comparison that I made with the BB-21, that was a much more, it was meaner also because
It
they
was,
were really like, they were a lot of them were kind of lying to make Nicole seem like this villain, and so they were all really hyping each other up and really like calling her like, no, we're not going to let that bitch in, and blah blah, like all this stuff, like really being mean about Nicole, who was not in the
that
room.
was Camp Comeback season.
It was Camp Comeback, yeah.
That
Yep.
whole season felt, yeah,
It was a very mean spirited season in a lot of ways, yeah.
yes.
And that was the height of it. Like that was the moment where like Nicole Anthony won America's favorite player in week 2, basically because of that. But this, at least, like it feels like they were making an alliance, yes, but it wasn't like they were personally attacking anybody who wasn't in the
Yeah.
room. Like they weren't being mean about it. They were just like doing it at a bad time, and like I understand anybody who feels bad for Rome in that situation. It sucks, like for all of them who were awake and seeing that happen and not a part of it. Like if I were in that situation, I'd feel really crappy about that. But in watching it on TV, like and knowing like okay, they were just this was pure gameplay, and so I think you can forgive that a lot easier than the personal attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the eight of them form the Toolshed Alliance. Lulu, what do you think of the name?
What was the idea behind it?
That they're all different tools and they all like have different serve different purposes in the alliance, but they're all like I guess equally important.
That's so corny.
It was Drew's when he was 8 years old. He came up with it allegedly.
Oh, that's cute.
But then he told somebody, I believe, that it was a lie. But then Drew's friend confirmed that it's true. So I don't know what the truth is there.
Interesting.
I prefer the red corner. The red corner actually. Initially, I wasn't so hot on the red corner, but if we're comparing alliance names, I prefer the red corner to the Toolshed.
Where does crossovers fall in that ranking?
Where does crossovers fall? Crossovers is nice. Okay, so crossover. Okay, ranking.
Yeah.
Crossovers. Red corner, Toolshed. Grateful.
that's all the way. No, but even worse was that season. Then there was Undeniable. That was even worse than Grateful.
God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate alliance name that can really be used against you once the fan base doesn't like them. Then they're just going to be called the Tools,
See,
right?
Like when they were describing themselves as tools, I thought they were just playfully saying that. Oh, well, because when I hear someone describe themselves as a tool, I think they're saying they're an idiot.
Right.
Right.
Which I think someone did joke about when they were. I forgot who it was, but someone was like, maybe it was Camus. I think said like, I've been called a tool all the time. So like they're aware that it can be used like that, but then I feel like that would trigger me to be like, maybe we should come up with a different name. But also it's so late, maybe they're just like, let's get to bed. Like whatever the first option is that someone mentions, sure, great. Can I go to bed now? Like that would be
I know, maybe they'll have a rebrand and get a new name.
Yeah.
Do we need alliance names?
I like an alliance name.
I do like an alliance.
What are we gonna call them? The Angela, Jason, or not Jason? Angela, Devens, D, Drew, Barrett, Haley, Camus, and whatever alliance. Like, no, that's too long.
I just find it funny just thinking it's written in the rule book that if you are going to make an alliance, that has to be like they in the handouts that they got from CBS pre-season. Rule number one: alliances need a name.
Well, what everybody was calling them was the Red Cross Alliance because it was the red corner plus the crossovers, and that made so much more sense. But I think it's probably copyright. I don't think they can do that officially.
Yeah, but also it exposes that these two. I don't know if it's been established proper that these two were two working alliances at the same time. So,
yeah, because I think like everybody in the crossovers, I think, knows about the red corner at this point, right? Yeah, because Angela told, Devens told Drew about it, so I'm sure at some point Barrett found out. And then I don't know that Haley, Chuck, and Camus are aware that Devens and Dee had told Angela that the two of them were also a part of the red corner. So, like, there's probably certain people who everyone knows all the information, but they don't all know that they all know it, if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
But then we get to the time capsule vote, which was interesting because Angela is the first winner of the time capsule vote. Molly, were you surprised that Angela was the first winner of this?
I'm not surprised. She has a big fan base and America loves her, so I was happy to see her win this.
Yeah, Lulu. I mean, I feel like there were some people maybe who thought Devens could win it first. Were you surprised that Angela won it over Devens?
Um, no. I imagined first week that the Big Brother audience
Yeah.
with Big Brother casuals who probably don't know much about Survivor would have voted for Angela. Yeah, I wasn't too shocked. It made
I
sense.
was the same way. I think that us people with that who are very well ingrained in the online community, we all know Devens just as well as we know Angela. But I agree that I think more casual Big Brother viewers aren't necessarily the overlap between Survivor and Big Brother. Probably in the casual universe is much less than the super fan community, where we're much more likely if you watch one show to also watch the other. So I think it did make a lot of sense that it was Angela this time. But then she basically like I don't know. I thought this was going to be an actual challenge that she had to complete, and it turns out it's just press your luck. It's I don't know
Uh,
if that show has made it to you, Lulu, but it's a very similar game to this.
you know what? You know what I think? I think that the production team has seen that GIF of Angela spinning in that chair from that, and they were like, "Let's bring this back. Bring it back. Bring back the spinning
Mhm.
chair."
and
Just for Angela's sake.
and I'm so appreciative for them for that. But I'm not appreciative that this is the most easily riggable game
It
that you could
is.
possibly give somebody. That it's just literally she's pressing a button and hopefully she presses it when there's a reward or a prize instead of a punishment. And it's so like there was literally a guy who on Press Your Luck who famously in like the 70s figured out how to rig Press Your Luck and won hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing it.
Well,
And so it's so easy to do that. And so she ends up getting the punishment, which is Vinny's hard boiled detective costume from last season. Uh, Lulu, what were your thoughts on seeing Angela?
So when I found out we were getting punishments from the past, I, 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 I how many Big Brother punishments have not been costumes? Because I,
Hmm. There have been. There were some punishments back in the day. I think it's been a while, but there were some where it's like you have to nominate yourself sometime in the next like 5 weeks. You choose a week and you have to give yourself like as one of the nominees, initial nominees. Like it is
right.
just forced upon you, and if you don't do it in a certain amount of weeks, then you're automatically in the last week that it's available. I've seen something like that before, but it's rare. It's usually costumes or like
Yeah,
some sort of like have not for the rest of the season or something like that.
something like that. Yeah. No, I love Eggula, mainly because we'll get to it, but some of the most serious drama coming from someone who's wearing the most unserious outfit is hilarious to me. No, I love Eggula. Um, I would have absolutely preferred for her to get an advantage, but I think we still have been thoroughly entertained either way.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the thing about this game that she played, I wonder if it's the same thing. It feels like it's going to be the same thing every time, every week,
I think
right?
so.
Did y'all get that impression as well?
yeah, there were a lot of different options up there, so it feels like maybe they're gonna like gray out that box or something, or like replace
Yeah.
it with something else in there. But yeah, it did seem like they would just reuse that.
Yeah, which I guess like it doesn't take up much airtime, which is maybe a plus for them that they can, not have to have this initial additional segment every week that's like a long competition that they're gonna, when they have a lot to cover. But I guess it's just gonna be what do based on who the America voted for, do producers want to give them a reward or a punishment?
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But Molly, okay? So who do you think is the better hard-boiled detective, Vinny or Angela?
Well, I love seeing it both times, but I think I'm gonna give it to Angela.
She'll solve more cases,
Yeah, she'll solve
more
more.
cold cases. Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah,
costume.
Angela is iconic. I love it so much. It just in a way that like it fit Vinny's personality so well. It also somehow fits Angela's personality so well, which is two completely different personalities,
Mhm.
but somehow in
Absolutely.
like a very different way. It just is so fitting, and I love it. But you can tell she hates it so
Yeah.
much. She's so uncomfortable. She can't sit anywhere. I don't remember Vinny having this much trouble with like sitting and things like that. I don't know why. I just don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
I don't.
But also in the same week, we had Keanu's butler costume, which I think was also very hard for him to like sit and things like that. So maybe like we
Oh, it's something.
the
Oh,
complaining and was
are we
split
gonna get
between
that
the two.
back? No.
I hope so. It was great, but I also no, I don't hope so. Even though it was iconic, I want them to also go back to like older punishments. I don't want them to just go back one
No.
year.
If they're gonna bring a costume punishment back, I want Robot Sam back. Robot
Oh
Sam.
God, Molly, do you remember Robot Sam?
No, what
So
was
this was the
that?
week one of BB20, where
Oh,
Sam had to like half of the week or half of each day. I think it was right, Lulu. Do you remember
I
that?
think it was half of each day. Yeah.
That she had to be she was like in another building basically, I think, or like another part of the CBS lot,
Half the
and
lot,
like
yeah.
she was controlling this robot that was wandering through the house, and so like she wasn't actually physically in the house for half of each day. I think that's
wow.
too difficult logistically. I don't think they're going to do that again, but I may be wrong. That would be very fun.
Yeah.
It was a very big disadvantage, especially week one for her, because like
Hmm.
to not be able to build those relationships was very difficult. But yeah, I think they're gonna do like the humilitard. They'll probably do like the maybe like the traffic cone or whatever Nicole was in BB All Stars. I feel like they're gonna. It's gonna be a lot of costumes. I think a lot of
Yeah.
iconic costumes from the past. But so she gets the egg costume, and then we get to the nomination ceremony. And this is where we end the episode, where Devens nominates Melody, Lyric, and Jason as planned. And this is, of course, an attempt to backdoor Rome. He nominates the three people, basically, or two of the people, Lyric and Jason, who Rome had said that he wanted to keep safe, and then also Melody, lacking context on the episode, but in large part because of what happened with the HOH comp. And then he is attempting to end the ceremony. And before he does, Jason and Angela start fighting with each other. And even like after he ends it, then Jason's like, "No, it's not. It's not over." Or was that Angela that said that? Now
That
I'm
was
second guessing. It was
Angela. I
Angela
think
that said
Angela
that.
was like house meeting
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
And yeah, there's more to come. We only get the very beginning of it, but we did get all of it on the feed. Surprisingly, the feeds came back as basically right when the episode ended, so we have seen all of this. Lulu, what were your thoughts on this whole fight that we saw in the feeds?
Oh my gosh, I haven't been this entertained watching Big Brother in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that um, whoever presses the button for the feeds just didn't press a button, just refused, just let us see everything. Um, I I loved how Devens was kind of just letting it all happen, just kind of took a step back a bit until Jason. I can't remember what the comments were, but the one moment that I remember from the feeds is Jason going, "Did you not buy it for 5 seconds?" Devon's just panning towards the nomination wall and being like,
Mm-hmm.
"Nope."
Nope. Yeah. It was great. There was a lot happening. There was like Lala was emotional because she of course found out that that Rome was willing to have her be nominated and let her go from the alliance. There was everything with Angela and Jason. It was Devens and Jason. It was just like it. This to me, Molly, was like, Lulu, you were talking about how this season feels very old school. This was really the biggest moment for me that we've seen so far this season. That like this felt old school.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. And now I like hearing them say this was the egg fight because of Angela being in the egg costume. So it's all coming back together. But I thought this was a really great moment, just that we got to see it, especially as live feed viewers, that we actually got to see the full fight. I'm hoping they show a lot of the fight on the episode as well. But yeah, it was a big drama to start the week.
Yeah, my favorite moment was when Devens was like, "Here's your hat. It's an excellent hat," and like as this whole everybody's screaming at each other, and it's like just this one moment where everybody could laugh, and I thought that was just such perfect comedic timing.
Exactly.
But yeah, what I loved about it too is like I feel like these days, everything, every fight, every speech is so scripted out word for word by the person. They want to have their TV moment. I feel like, and I have nothing against Jimmy, but Jimmy was probably the biggest culprit of this, where he was just every joke, every one liner was just so planned out beforehand, and it never landed because it felt planned out, it felt rehearsed. And Rachel Riley, I love you, but you're also a big culprit of this. And I felt like this fight, this one moment, nothing was scripted out, and it was just everyone was being themselves, and like the emotions were real and the fights were real, and it was like, oh, thank God, like this just felt so classic BB, and I loved it. Well, then after this fight, the next day is the power veto competition, and Devens wins the power of veto. And of course, this, you would think, perfect timing. Wow, great. Everything's working out so well. We can take off Melody, put up Rome. We got Rome, Lyric on the block together, and Jason as the third. So, like, whatever happens, it's a win 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 for the tool shed side of the house. But that would be too easy, wouldn't it? So, Rome and Lyric have this plan where they want to orchestrate a fake breakup. So they are going to pretend like they are no longer together, and this might be able to get one of them off the block. So if the goal was to take out one of the showmans, well, they're no longer a showmans. So Lyric, gotta give Lyric a lot of credit here. She is able to really work this, and she goes up to Devens and says, like, we're not together anymore. Like, this is really hard on us, and blah, blah, blah. And Devin seems to buy it. He seems to really believe that this is true. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, they think that Lyric is just somebody who can't lie. I think they think of her as just so genuine, and she's not going to be able to lie and make this up. And so the alliance, like, I think Dee and Angela buy it. Like, they all seem to be in on it. And let me just stop there because it's a lot. Lulu, what did you think of this plan by Lyric and Rome to orchestrate this fake breakup?
I love it because it's such a far stretched idea. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a kind of thing that only scripted TV. I don't know. You couldn't write it.
Yeah.
We're gonna pretend to break up, and you know what? Lyric is so good at coming off as genuine. I have to give props to her. Uh, she's like, there was parts where she was like going to people, kind of like trying to say, "Hey, please distance myself from me and Rome thing. He's done a lot, and I'm trying to protect my own game, so I'm trying to dissociate." Yeah, I got to give my props to Lyric. I think it's a great idea, actually.
Yeah. I mean, Molly, there's never been a showmance that has broken up in the Big Brother house, at least that I can recall. Like, there's never been one that, like, really started up, got serious, and then ends the season on bad terms. So, like, if this was true, it would be a Big Brother first.
Yeah, no, then it's funny because then you see them still kissing in
Yeah.
private areas after
Yeah.
they're going and talking about how they just broke up. So, I mean, we'll see how long it lasts that people can be convinced by. I don't think everyone's convinced, but definitely Devens was convinced.
He was.
So it
Yes.
worked out for her for that reason
So
because he's the one with the power.
right. He was convinced, but he has a conversation with Rome. I think it was yesterday, or I guess by the time you're listening to this, 2 days ago, where Rome basically admits, or actually, I think literally admits that he told Lyric the breakup was fake. He tells Lyric to go do it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't real. They are still together, and he loves her. But this doesn't mean that Devens is going to then realize that this is a bad idea to take Lyric off the block and replace her with Rome, as opposed to taking Melody off the block and replacing her with Rome. Instead, Devens still thinks that this would be a gesture that would potentially make Rome and Lyric not target him if they both end up staying in the house. If Rome takes Lyric off, wins Blockbuster, and Roman Lyric are still in the house come next week. And Devens thinks that, well, taking Lyric off the block is a good gesture to potentially, where if Rome or Lyric were to win HOH next week, maybe they still wouldn't come after Devens because he saved his girl and gave them both the opportunity to stay in the house together. Molly, do you think that Rome, if we were to win HOH or Lyric, would return that favor?
As of now, I'm gonna say no. I mean, maybe that could change, but I don't believe them. I think they're just trying to get through the week and both be safe for next week. Like, I want to say that they could do it, but I just don't feel like they would.
Yeah, Lulu, what do you think?
No, I think. Granted, I don't think it was game smart when Rome had that conversation with Devons prior to the nominations, but I would like to think that Rome is game smart enough to know not to get back in with someone who was willing to throw his conversation under the like throw him under the bus to everyone during the nomination ceremony. Um, yeah, I'm going to give Rome a bit of credit and say I don't think that Rome's going to come back to Devons.
I agree. Because the thing is, like, you nominated both of them. Like, you still backdoored Rome. Like, it's crazy to me to, like, I think there is a world where, okay, maybe there's like a 20% chance that Devens could work it where Rome wins HOH next week and he's able to say, well, I did save Lyric, I could have saved Melanie, blah, blah, and maybe there's a world where it works, but it's just so not worth it, not worth the risk. Like, just ensure that you are going to get out one of the showmans, or at least, even if you end up deciding to get out Jason, like, either way, it's a win-win-win for your side. And taking out Melody feels like such a waste of an HOH. And like, you could have done that and not done any of this, not exposed your whole alliance and done all this damage to your game in the process. And so it just feels crazy to me if you're gonna end up the week getting someone like Melody out, that you went through all of this to get there for something that very likely won't be returned. But he does. I mean, this whole thing works. He ends up taking Lyric off the block and replacing her with Rome. So our final nominees for the week are Rome, Melody, and Jason. Lulu, who do you think ends up leaving the house at the end of this week?
Oh, um, I think Jason's gone.
Okay.
I think Jason's gone.
How do you think we get there? Do you think Rome wins Blockbuster?
I think Rome's winning the blockbuster.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Melody is safe, regardless. But if I was going to predict who is going to win blockbuster right now, I'd say Rome.
Okay. Molly, what are your
I'll
predictions?
take another prediction here. I'll say that Jason wins Blockbuster and then Rome will go home.
Okay. Look, I'm going to say this. I think that if Jason wins Blockbuster, I think or if Melody wins Blockbuster, I think Rome goes home. I think that is like set in stone
Yeah.
enough to where it's like this would all be for naught. And I think that they're going to be smart enough to know that if Rome is on the block come Thursday night, he will go home. I think it gets trickier if Jason and Melody end up on the block together. I think there is a possibility that scenario switches to Melody going home. I just feel like for whatever reason, I think that they are so upset with Drew that and feel like he is not loyal to them and their alliance that I think they will take out Melody as like taking out Drew's lifeline almost to the other side of the house, and like that will pull
Mhm.
him closer by just forcing him to be closer to them and not having that connection on the other side. And I think that they will feel like that is valuable enough to get Melody out to kind of make Drew stick with them and be loyal to them.
I I do think that if it did ended up being Jason and Melody, I think taking out Melody would be the better game move for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I could see
Um,
that, and
yeah.
I think Jason's going to be very entertaining. So I don't want Jason to leave this early. I think that he is going to give us the drama, and
No.
keeping Jason and Angela in the house together is, I think, I want it for at least a couple more weeks. So I hope he doesn't leave this week.
Mhm.
But I also think, I actually think,
I
like,
want more.
sorry, what were
I
you
was
going
gonna
to
say
say?
I want more break. I want more breakdowns if Jason doesn't win another time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
I want more. Where were the drag race fans
Uh-huh.
situations like that?
That was interesting. What do you think,
I
Lulu?
loved that DR.
Do you think that was a real emotion from Jason in that DR?
No, but I loved it anyway.
Yeah,
It felt very put on. It felt
yeah,
very dramatic.
I agree.
I felt it felt coordinated. Yeah.
I thought that was his real like thoughts. Like I think he really was upset and thought he was going to win it, but I think he was not really that emotional about it. I think that was like emotion to make the audience feel bad for him so that he would win the next one.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, that is it for our Big Brother recap this week. Lulu, before you go, though, we have one last segment here that we have been asking all of our guests in 2026 for their guest choice nomination for our annual Chatty Awards that we will be holding at the end of the year. We are adding this year a guest choice award, and each of our guests are making one nomination for a reality star that you on any show that you've watched this year so far, of someone who you just think is like a standout or whatever criteria you want to use to just pick your star reality star of 2026. Who are you picking?
Oh, what's happened this year? I
I
have a
know that's
very
the
short.
hardest thing as we get further and further along in 2026 is like what shows have I watched this year?
Okay, I mean, I've got to go for someone from 50 because I think that was my big like that Survivor 50 consumed my life
Yeah.
this year. And my star of Survivor 50. Oh gosh. Um, I'm gonna be a bit biased because I kind of knew him before he got on Survivor, so I was kind of pulling for him throughout Survivor 50, and I've gotta go with RIZGOD.
Chris Scott,
Um,
baby.
Absolutely. I got to meet him finally in person in New York. No, I think he was the way that he went into 50 on the back of 49 and kind of knowing how to adapt his game, having had little time to consider how to adapt his game. He only got what, like 2 weeks off the island.
Yeah, I think it was, what did they say, like 16 days or something crazy.
16 days. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rizzo, for sure. But I loved most of that cast. I think that was a
Yeah.
fun cast with. a fun cast with horrible production choices.
Isn't
Kind
that
of getting in
always
the
the
way.
case when you have finally get
Yeah,
a really good cast? Something is going to go wrong. So,
absolutely.
yeah. Okay, good choice, good choice. I think that might be Molly. Do you remember? Is that our first Rizzo
Yeah,
nomination? I think it
we
might
haven't
be.
gotten a Rizzo yet, so it's a good
I'm
one
glad
to
he's on
add.
there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's
Yay.
on there. All right. Well, Lulu, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so much fun. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh, I've changed a lot of my handles recently,
Yeah, you
so I'm
did.
trying to figure out. I'm on Instagram at LuluLT. That's all I use. Instagram, LuluLT. Go find me on
All
there.
right, perfect. Well,
Awesome.
thank you guys so much for listening or watching on YouTube. We will be back next week for more Big Brother coverage, and be sure to follow us on social media at Let's Chat Reality. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we will be back to chat with y'all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.